Good morning, and thanks for being here today. I want to particularly thank Attorney General Abbott, Commissioner Todd Staples for joining us today in defense of hardworking Texans. You know, around the world, Texas has a very well-deserved reputation as a rich source of traditional fuels, thanks to a bountiful amount of natural resources and our entrepreneurial culture. We have been providing energy for the world almost since Texas was created. As a result, we understand that those traditional energy sources are an essential part of any viable energy strategy to meet the needs of a state, or in our case, a nation. Unfortunately, the powers that be in Washington are anxious to usher in a new era of, and I guess they're ushering in this era by tearing down the old one. They're using sweeping mandates, draconian punishments to force a square peg of their vision into the round hole of reality. In the process, they're preparing to undo decades of progress while painting hard-working entrepreneurs as selfish and destroying hundreds of thousands of jobs in the process. Before they go any further, I would invite the folks in Washington to take an honest look at our state's success with our all-of-the-above energy strategy, the reliable power supply and environmental improvements that have resulted with that strategy. They would see wind turbines dotting the plains of West Texas, one of the nation's largest biomass power plants under construction in Nacogdoches, a biorefinery in Freeport that will use algae to convert wastewater and CO2 into energy, and vast supplies of domestic energy being unlocked across Texas. They would also see that we've reduced nitrous oxide emissions 46%, cut ozone levels 22%, and watched our CO2 emissions fall farther than almost any other state. And while that energy revolution unfolded, Texas created more private sector jobs than any other state in the nation, attracted major employers in the midst of a national recession. General, I credit our success to decisions based on sound business principles, not ever-changing government mandates or the fear of extravagant fines. In Texas, we're making tomorrow's technologies more accessible by offering incentives to make them more affordable, cultivating a job-friendly climate, then getting government out of the way. And I think the results speak for themselves. Today, Texas produces more wind power than any other state in the nation, and more wind power than all but 4 other countries. Texas is also investing heavily in solar energy with 3 utility-scale solar projects scheduled to begin construction soon, and others like them in the development stage. 11 utility companies are currently providing rebates for residential and commercial customers who install solar energy systems. Texas is the very picture of a state aggressively seeking its future in alternative energy through innovations and incentives, not mandates and overreaching regulation. When the EPA recently declared carbon dioxide a toxic substance, they put countless businesses, farms, even large churches in their crosshairs. And they began a process that will not only devastate our state's strong economy, but it'll also raise energy prices for the rest of the nation. This misguided plan paints a big target on the backs of Texas energy producers and nearly 200,000 Texans that they employ. It is unacceptable to trade those jobs for compliance with a more stringent standard that was driven by a flawed process at the EPA and based on the tainted data of an agenda-driven international panel. Last summer, we objected to the EPA's plan, explaining how their decision would hurt Texas farmers and ranchers, interfere with efforts to continue developing renewable energy sources across our state. As evidence has accumulated over the past few weeks, undermining the objectivity, independence, and validity of the EPA's assessment, my office has worked closely with Attorney General Abbott in considering all options to challenge this seriously flawed EPA finding and uniting to head off an economic calamity. Today, the state of Texas is taking its challenge to the EPA. We are challenging the EPA's findings for CO2 and other greenhouse gases, and we are taking it to the federal courthouse. This legal action is being taken to protect the Texas economy and the jobs that go with it, and defend Texas environmental successes against federal overreach.